I peaked in 2020, and now my career is over. Just kidding. But it does kind of feel that way sometimes. Hi, I'm Boy Jr. You might not recognize me now, but if you were on TikTok or Reels or maybe YouTube Shorts in the early 2020s, you might recognize me from here.
Milk is not in the Bible. Video games are not in the Bible. Tofu is not in the Bible. Gender pronouns not in the Bible. Electric vehicles aren't in the
Or here.
You don't have to be perfect or exceptionally great. You don't even have to be good.
But I do. I have to be all those things at once, all of the time.
Or here.
Are they actually attractive, or do they just have colorful hair? Are they actually attractive, or do they just play in a band? Are they actually attractive, or do they just wear vintage clothes? Are they actually attractive, or did they just pierce their nose?
Or maybe from this bit.
What if Little Dark Age by MGMT was written by the living Tombstone?
Or this bit.
Yo, let's put some music on. I'm in, what do you want to hear? How about Gorillaz? Ooh, yeah, one sec.
And maybe some other stuff. Look, I want to be the kind of person who makes videos without looking at a script. But I didn't hand write 10 pages on my thoughts and feelings on this stuff for me to try and go off book. So we're going book mode. There was a time when I really felt like I began to see a path fold out in front of me for my music career. I felt like I was getting ready to take off and things were really going to start. This was in 2020, 2021, where I was locked down and here in this corner of my room, making music and videos specifically for TikTok content. The silly little songs, the songs in one artist's style, in another, a popular song in a different artist's style. I felt like I was just starting to see things bloom, and if only I could just get a few thousand more followers, or if only I could just reach a certain tier of like music influencership, then it would all be smooth sailing. And smooth sailing would mean no more trying to optimize every video to be as engageable as possible. I could just be myself. I could do away with the checklist of standing in front of a white background, bending over in the first couple of seconds as I had the zoom in effect on me so that you could see my cleavage, and maybe I'd get a couple of extra viewers who were only watching because I had big boobs. Big boobs! Or just doing stuff like of the times, jumping into frame, turning around and using the face zoom, or just saying something funny with it or controversial within the first 3 seconds. My vision of success, aside from consistent engagement, a consistent fan base, recognition from the industry, opportunities to collaborate with other artists, go on tour, maybe get some kind of record deal where there would just be some sense of stability. I wanted the guarantee of no matter what I posted, it would be consistent comments and likes and engagement, because more comments and likes and engagement equals more views, which equals more followers, which means what? What was it all for? There was a time during what I call the TikTok bubble where more followers did kind of mean something. First and foremost, TikTok is how I became connected with several people who are now significant friends and collaborators and meaningful connections to me. That, above anything else, makes all of the other stuff worth it. I don't like the sound of this microphone. It also brought some professional connections into, some music writing opportunities, video creating, brand partnership, one-off things. Nothing that changed my life overnight, but stuff that did make it doable for me to continue, to like afford basic cost of living expenses. Although even that, very minimal. The thing that helps the most with being able to continue to afford making music is joining my Patreon. and buying and streaming my music. But the one thing that TikTok followers did not bring me was any kind of means to an end. There was no point at which I was going to reach a certain number of followers, or a certain amount of viral videos or total number of likes that I would just be smooth sailing and no longer have to worry about keeping up with an algorithm or a game or keeping people's attention, and that I could just coast and suddenly I would be a, quote, real artist. But every single step of the way, you know, a few followers, to the point where I had 100,000 followers, 200,000 followers, 300,000 plus followers, which I currently have now, it doesn't matter. I have never been at a point where I can just do something important to me, like announce my tour dates or new music or just share a new song and have the not even just the peace of mind, but get to live in the excitement of, I worked really hard on this thing. This music is my life. There have been other people along with me for the journey who have made it happen, and we're all going to be so excited together that there is now another step on this journey. It has always been, this is the post that's going to reveal that I am a flop. Nobody is going to see it. It's the end of my career. If this post doesn't do well, nobody will come to my tour. I'm going to lose thousands of dollars, and it's all going to be over. Every creator at this point knows that followers don't mean what it used to mean. It doesn't guarantee you visibility or monetary success. It's something that I wish more people knew. Every creator, you know, laments about how laments about this. You know, success comes with an ability to adapt. I hear people say, you know, success in any industry means that you have to be able to adapt at the times. It's not just about having good music or having a good product or making something cool. It's about how you market it to people and share it with people, and that you can't just come to it with this entitled mindset of like, I deserve to be famous because my music is good. That's not what I'm saying. Let's talk about why it all just doesn't matter. Social media is dying. You feel it. I feel it. We all feel it. In fact, I mean, it's not even really social media anymore. I see people calling it interest media. I think that definitely comes with like its perks and opportunities for discoverability for new artists. Like, I don't think that's like inherently a bad thing. But I also think that at the same time, it's part of the reason why there is such a cry for the before times, and there's such a heightened sense of nostalgia. People going analog, people going low tech, people just kind of drifting away from the kind of social media use that we saw during the pandemic in the 2020s. Human beings are social. We are social creatures who need other people. Like, that's why we have social media. Why did we have such a big social media boom in the 2020s? Because people couldn't go out and do their normal socializing, and so it was being done online. We had a social hole to fill. Maybe I will reword that in post. Anyway, similarly, I'm starting to work on another piece I want to do something on about like the TikTok music bubble of the 2020s and its subsequent burst. It's related to what I kind of want to talk about today, but it's not exactly. I definitely just want to go, I want to go more in depth on that specifically for another video and like talk to other artists who maybe went through a similar trajectory that I've gone through. You know, maybe have had different experiences. Like, I know there are people out there who like sort of got swept up in this TikTok bubble and like got signed to a label, like had all this like interest from like the industry, and maybe got dropped, or for some people didn't want to continue pursuing music. What I'm getting at here is that people began using social media to do social things. The landscape changed really fast, kind of a gold rush of sorts. Now suddenly anything that you post, any thought that you have, there is now an incentive to share it online, and it could be a means to financial mobility, social mobility. It has this window of opportunity that wasn't there when we all signed up for an Instagram account to keep in touch with friends and family. Some of us, you know, maybe you just signed up. I've been on Instagram for like what year is it? For like 13 years. But I feel like before we really got our bearings, like as like on a societal level, using the internet, using social media, everything changed. And now it's becoming something else. It's like still mostly the same thing that we've been used to. You know, things are linked to a product that you can buy right there. We have the TikTok shop. There was a brief period of time when there was Instagram shopping. Maybe there still is. I'm honestly not really sure. But like every 2 to 3 posts is an ad or a suggested post. If your algorithm decides to stop showing you posts from an artist that you like and followed at one point, you might forget they exist and miss out on stuff that would have a meaningful impact on your life. Now, I don't want this to become another technology is bad think piece. Even though, like, it's a little bit kind of that. But that was meant to be, the beginning was meant to be more of like my bird's eye view. Like, look, I'm aware of the context of the trajectory of how everything is going. Just so that this isn't entirely a video of me going like, woe is me. I used to have a chance back when I was a young lad. I had a chance to escape this perilous town. I had the chance to become a strapping young bard. All right, hold on. We're getting too lost in the lore. Yeah, I don't want this to just be a video of me complaining about how I used to be TikTok famous and now I'm not anymore for 20 minutes. That's not what I'm aiming for. Even if, like, there is, of course, going to be some, like, resentment toward these platforms that it's like, I liked when I had the big numbers and people were paying attention to my work, and now they don't see it, and I'm mad. We're also going through major changes, both online and offline, and I think these things can feel simultaneously too big to even, like, wrap your head around and too big to touch. Okay, another day, another going through a world historical event. I'm starting to lose my sense of empathy and feeling about it. It's like truly starting to like erode and corrode our minds, I think, and not giving us the time to like process what's happening. I simultaneously feel like it's too big to touch, and it's also permeating everything else about our lives. And what do people tend to do when there's stuff that feels out of our control is we wind up, without realizing it, looking at things that do feel like they are in our control. I remember people talking about during the pandemic, it's like there's the pandemic and there's like violent world events going on and people are sitting at home and they're stressed and they're gaining weight. And somebody talked about how, why is it that the thing that in my body I feel the most like, ugh, like, oh my God, I need to do something about this, is the weight gain. Why am I sitting here like looking at how awful, just how there's chaos happening in the world, and also my tummy is getting a little bit bigger, and I need to feel bad about that first because we seek control. I mean, this is like that's like you know, source psychology textbook. I'm not here to do academic research. I'm here to stand here in my pretty lighting and complain about the internet. For me, this has looked sometimes like massive self-judgment and stress when my posts like flop. You know, I'm blaming the fact that I'm not conventionally attractive and I'm not super skinny and I have like weird teeth and maybe my music is too weird and I'm too clearly, visibly queer or neurodivergent, and I'm just not palatable enough for the general internet, and I need to do a better job masking and making myself look cuter and more palatable and, you know, do material that's more relatable to people, and I need to, like, dress cuter and sexier. I have nothing new to say here in terms of, you know, look at how social media has changed over the last 5 years. But I do have a lot of perspective to share as somebody who kind of went through the machine, gave it a lot of my time and energy and ideas, my likeness that will probably be used to create AI slop, and came out the other side both jaded and optimistic and a different gender. So I guess what I really want to share is what I feel like I've learned. But first, a word from our sponsors. What's up, guys? This video today was brought to you by me, Boy Jr. I have no sponsors. The first thing I really want to talk about, reflecting on my experience as an artist who put my whole boyjr into TikTok for a little while, is the toll that it took on my sense of artistic integrity. and my sense of being fully honest with myself and my work and what I wanted to spend my time doing. I had a frequent anxiety about not giving my full self to my fullest, most well-rounded, creative, artistic self. My time then, like thinking back in 21, 22, so much of my time was spent making content that was specifically for TikTok to get views. I mean, I'm planning, at the beginning of the video, I put in some of the stuff that maybe was most viral that I think people would most recognize me for. But I made so much stuff that was just these quick little novelty songs, funny little songs about little relatable topics, things that were on my mind. And then of course doing the cover songs. All of which I wanted to do. I did this stuff because I had the ideas, and I felt like TikTok was giving me an outlet to explore these funny, silly little ideas and get better at producing and recording myself without this, what felt like a high barrier to entry to YouTube, where, because I wanted to do this first. This was here first, where I was like, okay, well, if I want to start making videos, I have to have a whole concept. I have to have a whole thing planned. I have to get good lighting. I have to get a good camera. I have to get better at editing. And instead, it's just you know what? You can put a 60-second video on here. It actually doesn't even have to be recorded super well. You don't even have to screen record the audio from your DAW while it's playing. You can just take a video of your computer screen and have the audio playing in the speakers. Nobody cares. And I think that's helping me even now. I mean, I still really want to make more professional quality videos. Oh my god, what am I gonna do if I need to charge my phone while I'm using this? So my phone doesn't die. There was something that felt dishonest about going viral for things that were not my full self, I guess. I think one piece of that was the fact that you're acting. When just to do this kind of video, especially to do these sort of comedy videos, which I'm also I'm not a comedian. I don't consider myself a comedian. I wasn't I'm silly. I'm fun, but I'm not yes, I know how to be funny. I know what I'm doing. I know how to, I'm just gonna boost my musical comedy career. I just am a musician, and I also am silly. But I would look to a lot of examples of what other people were doing, and I remember just being very uncomfortable in front of the camera when I first started doing stuff. Obviously now in hindsight, partially because I was just very dysphoric, but I didn't know to name it. But I was taking a lot of visual cues from what other people were doing, which in a matter of years became referred to as millennial cringe, which I guess is another thing to discuss in and of itself. That's a whole other topic. I would often feel weird about the fact that I was putting on a voice. I was putting on mannerisms for these videos because I wanted to be as optimized as possible for engagement within the first 3 seconds. That's what I was saying in the beginning. I would set up this perfect lighting and do this. It's I would bend into the camera while it was zooming into me, and it's get the cleavage in there and make sure I did my lipstick. And I liked makeup. I also just I was doing this also for fun, but I don't do that now. Even the way I would talk in the beginning of videos, for the, what if this artist did this song? I would re-record takes sometimes because I would say things in my natural voice and it wouldn't sound energized and peppy enough. And I would over-feminize the way I was talking sometimes to be more appealing. That's something that I do wonder if I want to, maybe reflect on some of that old work and talk about what I was doing that was I didn't fully want to be doing that. There was a point where I started to release more of my own music more consistently, and I was okay, so how can I apply what has worked for me in these silly viral videos to my authentic work. And I felt uncomfortable filming this stuff a lot of the time because I didn't know how to be on camera without trying to be like as silly as possible. But it's like, this music is about serious stuff. I think that's something I sort of grapple with now, too. That I'm just like, my performance style is more like, even if it's a sad subject, like, let's get up and move, like, let's have fun. And, like, that's fine. But so much of what I would think about is, how can I do a better job molding what I'm already doing into somebody else? How can I better become somebody else? I am awkward and weird. I am not palatable. Other people are, and so I need to try and mold myself as close as I can into that that guide, like fit those guidelines. The other things that I wrote down that I think are worth reflecting on are just sort of like what my successes on TikTok taught me and what my failures taught me. Here's what my failures taught me. You should be proud of yourself for making anything at all. My biggest flops were still valuable, no matter how silly they were or only like relatable to me. Any time spent creating and doing something that is meaningful to you is time well spent in this life. And it is so hard to get work completed. I mean, we're so focused these days on making a song release have like a splash and like a moment. But it just should be, you should celebrate the fact that you even get to the stage of completing a song and putting it out. That's awesome. Think about how crazy it is that we can even digitally record music at all. That we can take our ideas in our brains and make them something you can listen back to repeatedly. And how cool it is, the tools that we have to create a soundscape that can't physically be found in real life. It's so cool, and I don't appreciate it enough. Just what it is to record music and release it. And it's an amazing thing. I mean, it's a modern miracle. You should feel good about making anything, even if you have the urge to devalue it because of the numbers that it does. Not everything is for everyone, and that's fine. Most of my favorite music is not popular online. The artists that I'm into right now don't make content for their music. I mean, there might be a little bit of like promotional stuff, but like, I haven't found their music because, it was part of a TikTok trend or because they, made a ton of viral content for it. I've found the music because and listened to it because it's like weird and cool and piques my interest. And there is an audience for all of it out there, and they might not automatically be built into TikTok. Realistically, there is no platform, no one place that everybody and anybody's potential audience is just already going to be corralled there. Literally just be yourself. I wrote, literally just be yourself. As somebody who had to take my sweet time to figure out my gender, my presentation, my sound, this was hard. It was really hard to, like, quote, be myself. I have been many versions of myself. I've been many people. I've tried to emulate many different artists, partially for the joy of playing dress up and exploration, but also partially for the purpose of, well, maybe not purpose because I didn't know I was doing it, partially from the place of running away from like my own reality. I would feel like I was doing such a good job adapting somebody else's mannerisms of somebody who is funny and entertaining online. And when I wasn't rewarded for that performance, it just felt like, what's the point? I'm doing such a good job being other people. Why am I not popular like other people? Is it because everybody can see through me? Maybe. No, probably, I don't think it was that deep. But when you haven't found your stuff, all of those little things feel like big failures, proving that you are not doing a good job being a likable person. Maybe not for you, but for me. And maybe part of this, my reflection, is just me looking back at my old work and just feeling like it was really cringe. I think this is also the reality of, like, looking at your digital footprint and seeing the way you were a couple of years ago. Watching myself try to be a likable girl. It's uncomfortable. But I learned from my successes on TikTok. Sometimes it feels bad. Being perceived feels weird. You know, lots of people only perceiving a few seconds of you and interacting with that few seconds as though that is your totality. The totality of who you are as a person feels really weird. I think of like the few times that I would do videos for Are They Actually Attractive? Some comments that I got, I think usually from just like angry, isolated young men who were just like, I hate girls like you. You prance around in your little cheerleader routine. And you think you're so smart and you're so funny. You're just like everybody else. You're a copy of a copy of a copy. Or that one guy who was like, how dare you compare your music to Trent Reznor? This is more like St. Vincent Fupa Jort's music. Those were the words he said. St. Vincent Fupa Jort's music. But I feel like whenever I was having a viral moment, I wouldn't enjoy it fully. It would feel untouchable. It would feel like awesome, like full of awe. I would just be in like awe of what was happening. But it didn't feel celebratory. I feel like I kind of like dissociated from it because there was this sense of it's not real. This isn't Benny. Benny Cam, come back. The stretch. Oh. Want to say something? He's slippery. Oh, he's slippery. You know, I would feel like this could all go away just as quickly as it happened. And it kind of did. But, you know, when people would be rallying behind something I made that was not fully authentic to me. You know, it wasn't exactly like my music. It was like something that I made. It was content. It would feel weird. It would feel like it. I would meet people sometimes in real life who would be like amazed that I was like having success in some sense. Which I guess, you know, I shouldn't take for granted. Like, it is really cool to make something that like is seen by a lot of people. But I never sat with it with this sense of like, I made it. You know, I'm here. It's happening. It's working. I'm doing it. I think I always felt like there's more to be gained. There's more to do. Because I didn't feel like everything I was making was just like from the soul. It was like, I have to keep making funny content ideas so I don't lose my audience and lose my clout. And I would imagine like brands or labels looking at my account, and when I had videos that got like 6,000 views instead of 10 or 20,000, which just 10 and 20,000 of some is considered like too low to even be worth their time, I'd be like, oh my god, no, everyone's gonna see my big failure. Dude, now I'm getting like, I got like 500 views on TikTok, and I'm like, hell yeah. I open the app and I'm like, they didn't ban me because they figured out I'm queer? Cool. Now I'm considering just stopping, you know, posting in general. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I would feel like I wasn't ever going viral for my like real songs. It was for novelty stuff, and you know, it never feels like real kudos for your work when it's not like your real work. Not to discredit the work that I did do. I think I did some like fun, funny ideas. I think I put in good work. I think it taught me a lot, but it wasn't filling like a need in me, like spiritually or like in my soul. It would oftentimes leave me feeling like I was having the soul sucked out of me. Like it was just like continuing to reinforce that I needed to chase this thing, this endless hamster wheel of like, post more content, get more followers. You need to keep going. There is no end. Like success does not, success, quote unquote, you know, whether you flop or whether you have a big viral post, the next step is always post more. So obviously I got burned out, but I think I definitely stifled my creative vision while prioritizing something that was getting me more of an immediate turnaround. Maybe not fully, maybe either way, I, needed the time I needed to take to more fully realize a creative vision. Definitely was pushing that aside to pursue this feeling of having a report card of straight A's of all videos in the tens of thousands of views and more range. Now funny enough, here I am like jealous of other artists who, regardless of the kinds of views and engagement they're getting, seem like they are pursuing a genuine artistic vision and seem like they have really figured out a sound and are really making something from their heart, and to see people who are doing that and getting the recognition and success and building a fan base around it, it's really hard not to kick myself now and just be like, oh, if only I had figured out exactly who I am now 5 years ago, I would be where I'll be 5 years from now. Now! It doesn't matter. I've been making music as Boy Jr. for almost 10 years. It's looked like a lot of different things. I have experimented with a lot of different sounds. I have tried a couple of different paths. And now, in a lot of ways, I feel like I'm starting from square one because I feel like I'm finally figuring out my sound and my ethos. And I'm finally fully committing myself to Boy Jr. not as like a content creation TikTok influencer personality, but like an art project with multiple facets. Look, ultimately, I don't want to be, and I didn't want to be, a TikTok musician. I want to be a YouTube commentator. Just kidding. I want to be an artist. I want to be a well-rounded, social, and creative being with a balanced life, a fulfilling, creative life. And living that kind of life doesn't come from engaging in the practice of, I gotta post something. I just gotta get something up to post. I gotta post every day. I just gotta post something. It comes hand in hand with accepting slowness, slow growth, slow and not always immediately noticeable change. It goes hand in hand with rejecting the scarcity mindset. That if there's another artist out there who's getting attention or making something cool, it somehow means that I will never get attention and I'll never make something cool. That's not how that works. All in all, it's a whole new practice. It's a new way of looking at things, a new way of doing things, and it is the only way forward. That's all I wrote in my notes. I don't know if that means I will come back to this and have more thoughts. I don't know how long I've been recording for. This take has been like 17 minutes and 15 seconds, so that might be really long for a video anyway. So maybe I'm done.